Come on, I mean. Hello and welcome to the United Stand. We're back in the studio. Tell you what, I've had a very good holiday, but it's good to be back knowing the stream's not going to just shut down any minute. So we are talking Harry Maguire, done deal. We're talking Bruno Fernandes and Dybala being next with some high level of certainty. But remember, this is the United Stand Transfer Show, sponsored by the Unibet vlog. The link is in the video description. There is a very, very good article about Paulo Dybala in there. The link is in the video description for that. Really good writers and breaking news, etc., etc., with the Unibet vlog. So do give it a read. Link in the video description, as I say. And also, I just want to say as well, if you do check out the link in the video description for the Unibet vlog, also check out the link for our United Stand 500,000 party next Thursday night. There are more tickets being released. We are live next Thursday night. Meet and greet, 500,000 subscribers, party, pre-season, transfer deadline, meet up. There are still tickets there. We've had to release more, so the link is in the video description for that. Get yourself down to London next Thursday. It's going to be a proper good night, but it's a good night. It's a good end to the week for Manchester United as well. It's a good end to the week for Manchester United as well. Harry Maguire deal done. We're going to be talking about Bruno Fernandes. Really good development on him. Also on Paulo Dybala. Really good development on him as well. But let's start off with Harry Maguire. And I like to say I told you so, because when you get it wrong, people never let you forget it. They'll never let you forget it. Oh, you've been taught, if Bruno Fernandes doesn't sign for United, I will never be allowed to forget it. So, about Harry Maguire, it was July the 4th. I went live on a Thursday afternoon and I said, I've been told by somebody close to Leicester who I've known for many years, Harry Maguire wants to come to Manchester United. He will come to Manchester United if Manchester United bid more than 75 million for him. The bid has always been 70 million. Today, United have gone apparently up to 80. I've heard 85. We'll find out eventually. But I told you we'd get Harry Maguire, and I've been very confident about that. I knew that that person telling me that had no reason to be bullshitting me, because they've got no affiliation to Manchester United. And it has happened, and it's great. And I've done the video on it, and Flex did a video on it. And I'm very excited about this. I mean, it makes me... I can't wait for the first game against Chelsea now, because we've suddenly got a back four with De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire and Luke Shaw, and you go, all right, maybe Liverpool think they've got a better one. Maybe Man City think they've got a better one. I think we've potentially got one of the best defences in the Premier League now, and last season we had one of the worst. So I'm very happy with the stability Harry Maguire brings, and above everything else, literally above everything else, his ability in the air is going to be a game changer for Manchester United. So I'm really, really, really pleased with that. There is a watch-along tomorrow for the AC Milan game. Interestingly, no Paul Pogba tomorrow, which some people are a little bit worried about. Back spasm, says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, look, I mean, as I said this morning, my last stream from Mallorca, I'm missing it. But, look... surely we can't sell Pogba. We can't sell Pogba at this late stage. I just can't see it. I can't see it happening at all. What I want to talk about, though, is let's start off with, well, I've spoken about Harry Maguire there. Loads and loads to get through tonight. I want to have a really interactive show, because it's been impossible to be interactive and when you're on holiday and you're just doing 10-minute streams off your phone. So I've got the live comments there. Let's go for it, as I said. But let's have a look at... Sorry, guys, I'm not doing the watch-along tomorrow. What I was going to say is this. With regards to Bruno Fernandes, very, very interesting development around him. God, we have. Apologies, we have got a volume issue. I really do. I thought people were trying to have a pop at me there. We have had an issue with the volume. I've sorted it out now. Should work a lot better now. I don't know. This is the trouble. Been on holiday. You just go live, you think your settings are all the same. They're not the same. So there was a little bit of lowness on the volume there that hopefully we'll have sorted out for you. Apologies for that. Just to recap, if people couldn't hear, were lip reading. Still pissed. The point I was going to make, defence sorted, midfield next, says Sean Byrne. Yeah, Harry Maguire, fantastic signing for Manchester United, and makes us have a very good back four on paper. Lindelof and Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, De Gea. Very good platform to build on. Devils TV, top three a possibility with Dybala, Bruno and Maguire. Says, look, we'll talk about that next season. But let's not run away. Because I still think we've got to get those deals on the line. So let me talk about Bruno Fernandes, because we're going to be interacting a lot tonight anyway, and it's great to be back, like I say. So the situation with Bruno Fernandes is that we spoke about this, Tottenham getting involved. Now, David Amiol, who you can follow on Twitter at David Amiol, he does a very good podcast, very good through the transfer window. I think it's called the Calcio podcast. Some of you will know what it is, but definitely on Twitter it's at David Amiol, which is Amayol. And he put a podcast out that went out today. I think he filmed it yesterday, talking about Bruno Fernandes, and he said there's a good level of certainty that he will join Manchester United after Sunday when Benfica play Sporting Lisbon. So he does work closely, he does the English site of Di Marzio, so that he does work closely with Di Marzio. He did say, this is not from Di Marzio, this is from my own digging, but there's a good level of certainty that Bruno Fernandes will join Manchester United after that game on Sunday. Remember, Di Marzio this week has already said Bruno Fernandes is one step away. And interestingly, what David also said was, a lot of people have said, can United sign Dybala and Bruno Fernandes, or is it one or the other? He said they're not exclusively linked, i.e. both can be signed and both are being looked at signed. So that is a positive, isn't it? You want a little bit of positivity around Bruno Fernandes on a Friday night. And the way it looks with Spurs is, I think Spurs have spent a lot of time going after Lo Celso of Betis, and now they're looking at Bruno Fernandes. But United have, I can't overemphasise the amount of time and effort Manchester United have put into this Bruno Fernandes deal. They've got to get it done. Dybala's an attacker. Harry Maguire is a centre-back. That midfield, it needs investment. It needs somebody to have any chance of coming in the top three. Mark, will you get behind the Glazers out on the 8th if we don't get more signings? Either way, the club does its business as a joke at this stage, as Brian Murphy. I'll talk about the Glazers out quite happily on August the 8th. I'll talk about the Glazers out now, but we're all focused on transfers, and I agree that's what we should be focused on. But August the 8th was always going to be Judgment Day, wasn't it? You look at net spend, you look at who's come in and who's gone out. So United have got a very big week ahead of them. A very big week indeed. We've also had a contribution from Harold Holst-Versvold, who says Pogba will stay. Zidane won't be Real manager by the end of the season. Therefore, Pogba will stay for years. Difference between Van Dijk and Koulibaly versus Maguire is insignificant. Look, Van Dijk and Koulibaly are streets ahead of Harry Maguire. Van Dijk and Koulibaly are in the top 5 centre-backs in Europe. Harry Maguire's not in the top 5 centre-backs in Europe. I argued and got laughed at that I think he's actually in the top 10. Some United fans and Arsenal fans, because they're obsessed with us, think he's in the top 20. I think he's going to be in the top 10 at Manchester United. I think this is the platform as England's best centre-back. He is England's best centre-back. Liverpool fans can talk about Joe Gomez. He's a very good centre-back, but we're living in the now. And yeah, he's been injured all last season, but Gareth Southgate would still pick Harry Maguire as his number 1 centre-back as of now. And that's the situation. And Manchester United have bought a centre-back who's very, very good. I hope we win the league next season, says Abu. Let's not get carried away with ourselves. Realism has got to kick in. And what about Dybala? I mean, DG1 is right. There's got to be at least 2 more signings to come. And it's got to be Bruno Fernandes. It's got to be Paulo Dybala. I have got my concerns, but as Paul Robinson said, Slabhead is a great signing, and I don't think people understand what Harry Maguire will bring to Manchester United. When I watched United play last season, and Ashley Young's playing most games, and you got Phil Jones playing some games, there's always that fear that they are going to make mistakes, and they are going to leave us weak at the back. Next season, can a team attack our right-back position because Ashley Young's shit? No, because we've got one of the best right-backs in the league. Can they attack the left-hand side because Luke Shaw's shit? No, only Rance and a few other people think that. He's actually a very good, sound left-back. Can they attack our centre-backs because Phil Jones is a Calamity Jones? No, because we've now got one of the best centre-backs in the league playing with Lindelof and De Gea in goal. So United's defence next season automatically should be not conceding as many goals, which therefore should translate into more points in the league. You've also got a centre-back in Harry Maguire who is very, very good on corners and set pieces. So that could be more points. And you've got to look at it like that. Welcome back. What better gift than a slab head, says Luke 19. I tell you what, it's so funny because I did the last video from Mallorca this morning and I said I don't feel there's going to be a United deal today. I knew Dybala was a while off. I knew Bruno was a while off. And Harry Maguire last night, they were sort of saying that we're a mile off with the fee on that as well. And then suddenly it happened. But it's so funny. This is no word of a lie. I got off the plane. My phone was bleeping. and I couldn't really get reception, but I had missed calls from Drawty. And then as I was coming down the steps to passport control, this guy says to me, Harry Maguire to United, Mark. I've never met the guy in my life. So obviously he watches the United Stand. Shout out to if it was you, mate. I didn't get your name. But yeah, I was like, I'm going to get back on a plane. I'm going to get back on a plane for the next 2 days and not getting off a plane until Bruno Fernandes signs, because I've been waiting all summer for a signing and it happens when I'm in the air. Welcome back. What about... Yeah, we've read that one. And Laxboy 1999. Do you think we take long on transfers since we have a big fan base and United's PR spend time on promotional content so it's ready for the announcements? No, I just think we're penny pinchers, to be honest. And Dr. Aura Chavizet says, what would be our formation if we sign Bruno and Dybala? Well, we'll talk about it in a minute because I need to talk about Dybala. But let me just say this. Wan-Bissaka was a fantastic signing for Manchester United, but we spent 4 weeks to buy a player that was worth 50 million. Harry Maguire, the first bid of £70 million went in nearly 4 weeks ago. I can't wait to see what the fee is, because if the fee isn't far off 70 million, what have we been doing for 4 weeks? Penny pinching, that's what it is. Right, let's talk about Dybala, Paulo Dybala. So the basic situation with Dybala at the moment, and this was coming from, I did see this from Dybala, was that he's still in talks. Sorry, Fabrizio Romano, which is basically, he works for Dimarzio. He's saying Dybala's still in talks with Manchester United. It's all about personal terms. Juventus have reiterated to Dybala that they want this deal done with Lukaku. And that is the situation. And what's happening with Dybala is that he's currently sorting out his personal terms with Manchester United. So it's sounding very positive from a situation where I think there's trepidation amongst many of you lot, because you're like, if Dybala turns us down, we're going to take a massive L, which we will, and everybody will laugh at us. But I don't think that is necessarily going to be the case, because Dybala's in a difficult situation whereby Juventus want Lukaku, and to get Lukaku, they're offering up Dybala. Manchester United want Dybala because he's better than Lukaku and he suits us better than Lukaku. And Dybala wants to stay at Juventus but realises they don't want him anymore. And other clubs that might want him, Juventus aren't really open to him going to PSG or Inter Milan because they want Lukaku and time is running out on that deal. So Dybala in many ways has been forced to Manchester United. Now this, some people, and I myself have two theories on this. One, is it going to be like Di Maria, who didn't want to leave Real Madrid, and you end up with a player that doesn't want to leave Real Madrid, leave a club, and then they come to your club and they're not totally committed to it? Also Argentinian, whatever that means. Yeah, Dybala could come to United, never really wanted to come here, doesn't settle, doesn't perform and flops. That could happen. Very expensive flop again. On the other hand, he could be a person who is very unfair to say he's Argentinian, or we've done this before, it's going to be another Di Maria. It could be that. It could be that. Or Dybala, a player that many people felt would be one of the best players in the world a couple of years ago, I certainly felt it, who's not quite lived up to his great potential talent at Juventus over the last couple of years. He's been a little bit inconsistent. Thrown out by Juventus because they don't want him anymore. Sent to Manchester United and suddenly thinks, you know what, I'm going to show them in the world they're wrong. I'm still in my mid-20s. I'm going to show them I'm wrong. Everybody I'm wrong. They're wrong. And I'm going to prove myself. So it could go that way as well. As a Manchester United fan, I have concerns about Dybala. As I said, massive fan of Juventus. I've watched Italian football for years. I've always said about Dybala, I really like Dybala. He's a very good player. I'm not convinced if he'd gone to Liverpool, if he went to Man City, I still would say I'm not convinced his style of play in the Premier League is going to work. I'm not convinced about it. But a lot of that's to do with over the last couple of years, he's been a little bit inconsistent. So, but is he better than Lingard and Mata? Yes, he is. Is he better than any of the youth we've got at the moment? Yes, he is. Is he better than Sanchez? Yes, he is. So you can't refuse that. And as I say, we're not in a strong position. We are a club that's on its knees in many ways. You can't refuse a player like that. Philip Burton once says, if we can get these two other deals over the line, we can say as fans that it's been a decent window. In the future, it has to be done quicker. Your thoughts? I agree. I think that I wouldn't say there's an air of desperation from Manchester United, but we've certainly left it late. And in leaving it late, has it benefited us? No, we've still paid a world record transfer for a defender with Harry Maguire. We're still going to probably end up signing Bruno Fernandes for what Sporting Lisbon want, if and when we do that deal. And the Dybala deal with Lukaku, to be honest, is a late deal anyway. It always looked like Lukaku was going to Inter, didn't it? We can't overplay on the Dybala in terms of wages if he comes. Hope Woodward has learned from the Sanchez deal, regardless if he brings a different level of quality. That's from the Sebson. I don't think we will pay silly money to Dybala. I think we'll probably play him around 300 grand, which in fairness is probably what he's worth. Don't shout at me for drinking that. It's all that was left in the fridge. I just got back from holiday. Akshay Shastri says, if we can't get Dybala, based on recent news he wants Champions League, and lose Pogba to Madrid after the window closes, how screwed are we, even if we get Bruno? I think that's looking at it from a glass half empty, which I've got no problem with at all. The point you're making there is, look, Pogba still could leave, we might not get Dybala, and suddenly we're in a weak situation. You could flip it the other way and say, we've just sorted our defence with Harry Maguire. De Gea's going to sign a new contract very soon, isn't he? I'm surprised that's not been announced already. You've got a very good back four. You keep Pogba. You add Bruno Fernandes. You've got people like McTominay, Pereira. Maybe Fred can produce something this year. Then you've got Dybala added to Rashford, Martial, Greenwood. And suddenly you've got something to build on this season. And remember, this season is a build. We're not in the Champions League. We're in the Europa League and we're trying to get into the top four in the league. So it's certainly a team you can build with. Dybala's got 4 or 5 years left in him in his prime. So you can build with it, but it can still go either way. Harry Maguire to me was always going to happen. What we do to add to that, I don't know. I'm still believing that Bruno Fernandes and Dybala will be next, because I think when you look at the stories around it, look, there is trepidation from Dybala coming to Manchester United. It's a step down. I said this the other night, didn't I? I said this. It's a step down, and United fans need to take that on the chin. We love our club and we know we're a very big club. But as of now, right now, we are not as attractive as Juventus. And Dybala would probably love to be told by Sarri, you're going to be a starter for me next season. We're going to try and win the Champions League. He's now being told, I don't want you anymore. I want you to go to Manchester United. And he's got to get his head around that. But if he can get his head around that and be motivated to come to United, then we get a good player. Love the show, Mark. Bit off topic, but why do you call the Europa Cup the Emmerdale Cup? Don't get the reference, thanks. Kevin SP. I don't call it the Emmerdale Cup anymore. I call it a very valid European competition that we are now in. But I used to call it the Emmerdale Cup because Emmerdale Farm or Emmerdale is a soap in the UK, like a television series, and it always used to be on a Thursday night. So Europa League, Emmerdale Cup. But that was more when we weren't in it and I was taking the mickey out of Arsenal fans. We're both in it now, so I've got to call it the Europa. Utsvai Pandy says, hi Mark, if we end up getting Bruno and Dybala as well, do you think the board will expect us to win the league, putting Ollie's tenure at higher risk? Well, only a stupid board would expect Manchester United to win the league just because we've signed Dybala and Bruno Fernandes. And Joe Stringer says, evening Mark, I understand exactly what Maguire brings us and he's a fantastic signing. Defence is solid now. Look, I seem to be against the masses here, but Bruno is unlikely. James Cooper isn't wrong in his reports here. I don't know when James Cooper's spoken about Bruno Fernandes though, and GS has made a contribution there. Look, all I'll say to you is James Cooper is Sky Sports correspondent and he's very close to Manchester United, and if he's saying we're not getting Bruno Fernandes, then I would take notice of that. But I'm going to sink with the Bruno Fernandes ship and I'm going to say that we will sign him because that's what I know. United have scouted him. I know they're interested in him. And I think James Cooper would admit that United have an interest in him, but maybe he's been told that we're not going to sign him. I don't know. But to me, what defines this transfer window as a success is not Harry Maguire and Dybala and Wan-Bissaka and Daniel James, because that's like a polo. A polo's a lovely mint, but it's got a massive hole in the middle. And that will be Manchester United's transfer window. If we sign Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Dybala, Daniel James, everything's round the big hole in the middle. It's a polo transfer window because where is the middle to make that satisfying? The midfield. The most important part of anything is the middle of it. And where is the midfielder? This transfer window will be a failure if we don't bring a midfielder in. And at this point, we all know that the only midfielder that's viable, that suits us, that genuinely could replace Herrera, who's not been replaced, is Bruno Fernandes. And for anybody who says, well, yeah, we got Pereira and we got McTominay. We had Pereira and McTominay last season. And Scott McTominay's 22, so don't say, oh, he's a year older now. He's 22. he'd been playing the season before for Mourinho. Mourinho made up an award for him as Player of the Year. So McTominay, a year ago to now, of course there's going to be development, but he still was part of the team last season anyway. He's not a replacement for Herrera. He was already part of it. Can Dybala and Fernandes play in the same team, says Michael Maystar? Yes, you'd get you'd probably have a midfield three with Pogba and Matic and Fernandes ahead of him, or you'd have a midfield three of Fernandes, Pogba, and again maybe a McTominay. But Dybala could play as a false nine. He could play slightly off the right with interchangeability. The way United's front three is playing, Dybala, look, to be honest with you, you raise a good point there, because a lot of people are going to say, well, surely Fernandes and Dybala play in the same situation if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1. I think a 4-2-3-1 would be a very, very attacking way for United to play with Dybala, because what you'd effectively be saying is Pogba and one other midfielder, then Bruno Fernandes, then maybe Greenwood, then Martial, then Rashford. That's 4 forwards there. I think the way United play with their front three and the interchangeability, that's where Dybala would maybe go with Rashford and Martial. Because I would, and you know what? United cannot turn down Dybala for Lukaku, because only an idiot would do that. But actually, the way Oli plays with his front three and wants speed, Dybala's not the fastest. So, on paper, I don't know whether Dybala really suits the way Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to play anyway, but you can't refuse a deal like that, and we'll have to find a way. But what Dybala cannot be is box-to-box. He cannot be that player. He's not that player. Dybala is not defensive-minded at all. Bruno Fernandes is. Bruno Fernandes can play in the midfield too. You'd be missing out on his attacking talents like you miss out on Pogba's if you're playing Pogba there. But Bruno Fernandes is a midfielder and can play defensively in the midfield and track back. So they are different players. Michael Maystar, yeah, we've answered that one. We've also had a contribution coming in from Daz OW. Rumours United want Dybala and Mandzukic. I think if we get both, we won't get Bruno. Just get Dybala and Bruno. Hope you had a good holiday, mate. I did, Dazu. I just want to say to everybody as well, we've got a lot of people watching, so please do smash a like on the video. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel if you're new. I think it's going to be a very, very busy final week on the United Stand. I mean, at times we've been doing 4 videos a day, haven't we? It's crazy. Flex has been doing them as well. I thought the watch along the other night was fantastic with Drawty and the boys. I'll be back for the watch along tomorrow, but I needed a holiday, although I did a lot of content for you. But I think it's going to be a very, very busy week. So make sure you've subscribed, you've got your notifications on, and you've smashed a like on the video. But also, yeah, that was what I was going to say. Thursday the 8th in London town, starting at 7 o'clock, we have got the United Stand first ever get together. It's going to be Flex is there, Rance is there. We're going to have a mic session, a Q&A, all sorts. If you want to bring your United Stand tops like I've got, or your polo shirts, I've got my gold pen. I'll be signing stuff if you want that sort of stuff. I don't, some people do, some people don't. Link in the video description. We've just released another 100 tickets. So it's going to be a fantastic night. Lots of people there, DJing and all sorts of stuff. So next Thursday night, transfer deadline day night, we'll be doing some live content for you. Get yourself down there. It's going to be a really good night. Link in the video description for that. What would you consider? So just to recap before I take this one, Harry Maguire is obviously going to be announced probably, I think Harry Maguire might be announced on Monday as officially a Manchester United player now. Maybe Sunday, but yeah, probably Monday. But it's done. The deal is done. All the credible Tier 1 journalists are saying that. Bruno Fernandes and Paulo Dybala still can both be done. As I said, a lot of Italian reports are saying that Juventus are pushing this deal with Dybala, and he's now realised that, and he's sorting out his personal terms with Manchester United, so that looks positive. And David Amiol, who is a journalist who does a lot of the English translation for Dimarzio, he's put his podcast out and basically said that there's a good level of certainty that Bruno Fernandes will sign for Manchester United after the Sunday game between Sporting Lisbon and Benfica. So look, let's hope. Shyam Sundar Singh says, what would you consider a good transfer window for you, and what do you want the starting lineup to be for Chelsea match? Love to see you back. Glory, glory, Manchester United. I think we're not going to have the transfer window I wanted, because I wanted a centre-back, 2 midfielders and a right winger. We're not going to get 2 midfielders. We're not going to get a right winger. We will get a centre-back. Wan-Bissaka's a great signing. Dybala isn't really what we needed, but in a swap for Lukaku, only an idiot wouldn't do that. And Daniel James is one for the future in a position we maybe didn't need. The midfield was what we needed to do, and I would have been happy with Bruno Fernandes and even Sean Longstaff. I wanted midfielders to come into Manchester United. As for the starting lineup for Chelsea, the back four picks itself with Maguire, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka and Luke Shaw. De Gea, Pogba picks himself. I'd play Martial and Rashford. And then it depends whether we can get Dybala and Bruno Fernandes in. Praveen Thomas says, we were linked to Milinkovic-Savic. That news has evaporated. Were they false rumours? I spoke about this as well, Praveen. I don't know. I don't really know what happened with Milinkovic-Savic. I mean, the videos, I never really believed we were in for him, to be honest with you. It felt like it was being pushed because of Pogba. But you know what I would say about Milinkovic-Savic? There's no smoke without fire. And is Pogba staying at Manchester United? At the moment, we're all hoping he is, because you can't lose a player like that so late on. But has anything changed? Are United going to go and sign Milinkovic-Savic next week and then Pogba goes in August? We don't know. Craig Norwood had tweeted that an agreement has been reached with Dybala. Medical is sometime next week. I don't think he has, by the way. Joseph Woodbury just coming in. Recap if possible. Also think we should prioritise Bruno now over anyone else. Bruno Fernandes for me is the priority signing for Manchester United. I cannot overemphasize that enough. He is the priority signing as far as I'm concerned for Manchester United, and I will be that in many ways will define Manchester United's transfer window, because I think if we don't get Bruno Fernandes, and I said this last night, if we don't sign Bruno Fernandes and he ends up going to say a Tottenham or even worse a Liverpool, I'll be absolutely gutted. Craig Norwood has not tweeted about Dybala, so that's clarified for you. Emex's Pro says Dybala, Anthony, Marcus. Damn, that's hot. It is hot. I've got to talk about Mandzukic as well, because I have sort of purposely ignored it, and this is the United Stand, and it's your channel, not my channel, to ignore news because I don't like it. So let me take a deep breath and have a little bit of beer. Amongst the Dybala story today, there is again talk about Mandzukic coming to Manchester United for about £10 million. God. Look, I didn't want Matic. I didn't want Lukaku. And I definitely didn't want Fellaini. But I gave them time. And then I was right. So, if we sign Mandzukic, I will give him my support. Whatever that means. Matters, sorry. But I don't want Mandzukic at Manchester United. I've never liked him. I think to be honest with you, a lot of my dislike for Mandzukic, this is going to sound really shallow, he just really frustrates me on FIFA. He's such a bloody donkey, isn't he? But actually, in real life, he does do quite well. Look, he's 33. I don't think United should be looking for players like that, but he probably would offer us something a little bit different. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did hint at this a number of months ago, that having a bit of a taller option is important, and we won't have that. But as I said this morning, maybe you just chuck Harry Maguire up the pitch. Fernando has to be priority over Dybala, says Nora Calder. Dybala is just a bonus. Yeah, Dybala, look, it's not just my opinion. If I said to you now, Harry Maguire's a done deal, but who would you can only have one more, Bruno or Dybala, who would you go for? You tell me. And while you're telling me, smash a like on the video, and please do subscribe to the channel, because we're nearly at 518,500. So subscribe and like if you don't want to get in the comments. And let's see who people would prefer, Bruno or Dybala. Because to me, they'll start coming through now. For me, it would be Bruno Fernandes every day of the week. I like Dybala, but it's like, to be honest with you, it's like signing Aubameyang instead of signing Verratti. Like, we need a midfielder. Aubameyang's better than any of the strikers we've got at the moment, but we need a midfielder. So I would take Verratti. And Bruno Fernandes or Dybala, well, Dybala's better than all the attackers we've got, but we need a midfielder. So for me, it would be Bruno all the way. And to be honest with you, looking at the live comments, I'm seeing a lot more Brunos than Dybala. And I think, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Karen Noble says, a striking duo of Rashford with Martial and Dybala behind them would be on fire. And it would be. But I think there's a maturity to what we're saying to say, look, Bruno Fernandes is more of a priority. However, I see a lot of people saying it in the live comments. Ed Woodward, if you asked Ed Woodward who he would prefer, Bruno Fernandes or Dybala, I would agree he probably would go Dybala because he wants to sell these. Not United Stand shirts. I want to sell these. I want to see everybody wearing United Stand FC tops. But which reminds me, we've got our first pre-season video coming out for the Blood Brothers League very, very soon. But and we're playing another game on Sunday. Woodhouse College in Finchley, North London, if anyone wants to come down. I'll mention it again tomorrow night anyway. But no, Edward wants to sell these, not these, Manchester United shirts. So Dybala is a shirt seller, isn't he? He's a very good player, but he'd probably sell more shirts than Bruno Fernandes. And we've made that mistake in the past. Brandon B, if we don't sign Bruno, it would be an embarrassment for the scouting team. It would have been a waste of valuable time and manpower. What is the point of scouting him for an entire year not to sign? I totally agree with you, Brandon. But, and I'll bore people with this, we did the same with Ivan Perisic. We spent a long time scouting him. Mourinho was desperate for him. And 2 years ago, Mourinho was in a much stronger position than he was last summer. He was well liked by the club. He wanted Ivan Perisic. United didn't get the deal done. So don't think because United have spent a lot of time scouting Bruno Fernandes and because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes Bruno Fernandes, that means United will sign Bruno Fernandes. We know what this board's like. They don't necessarily work like that. Apparently, there are some Ole Gunnar Solskjaer quotes on Twitter, which I should be able to get for you because they normally do float about. See what we can find. We're still hoping on 1 or 2 deals can be done. We've been working on cases for a long time, and suddenly the deal can be done when it's dragging on. I don't know what that means. That's from the Press Association. So let's read some of these out. Solskjaer, we've done really well and won 5 games, but that is not the point. You want to lay down your principles, how you want to play. We've looked sharper and sharper. I think we're looking strong for that first weekend. I hope we've started on something. Alexis Sanchez is only trying for 5 days, needed a break after the Copa America. He won't be too far away for Chelsea, but let's see what happens in the next 10 days when the league starts. We're still hoping at the end of the session today, Pogba got a back spasm. And yeah, Solskjaer, we're still hoping on 1 or 2 deals can be done. We've been working on cases for a long time, and suddenly the deal can be done when it's dragging on. So I think what my interpretation of that is, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reiterating that we've been working on deals for a long time, and they can suddenly just happen. Like Harry Maguire, we worked on that for a long time. Wan-Bissaka, we worked on it for a long time. And I think that can only, if you want to read into that, and it's very difficult to sometimes read into quotes, but if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says we've been working on deals for a long time and we're hoping to get 1 or 2 done, to me he's talking about Bruno Fernandes there, or Sean Longstaff, because they're the only other 2 deals that haven't been done that United have been working on for a long time. Bruno Fernandes has been worked on for a long time, and Sean Longstaff's been worked on for a long time. So Dybala's not been worked on for a long time. Dybala and Lukaku is a late development, which would be a very good late development, but actually doesn't involve any outlay. That's a very good point as well. I don't mind pointing at you. I should be pointing at myself. Anybody who's picking Dybala over Bruno, you've just made a stupid error as well. Let's not forget, Dybala we're not paying money for. He's not part of the transfer budget. He's not part of the magic 200 million we're meant to have. Dybala's for Lukaku. Dybala's just, Dybala's a bonus. He's got nothing to do with what we were meant to be doing this summer. Lukaku going, or 70 million or whatever, that's Lukaku. Forget about it. Like, the money to build the team is the money to build the team. Dybala for Lukaku is just a brilliant bonus because it's like, wow, we've got a player like that for Lukaku. Bruno Fernandes should be money set aside already. Ronnie24 says, if no Dybala means Lukaku next season, he needs to be moved on. And Noah Calder says, talk of Twansibi going on loan next season. Look, it's a very good point. Would you loan Twansibi out next season if Lindelof and Maguire are going to play most of the games? Yes, I would. I would rather Twansibi played 30 plus games in the Premier League for Newcastle next year than play 3 or 4 games for United in meaningless games. So yeah, I would loan him out because I think we've got our 2 starting centre-backs, and I've always said this, and I know you're going to laugh at me, I've always said it on watch-alongs and everything, that Chris Smalling, to me, is one of the best backup centre-backs in the Premier League. I don't think he's one of the best starting centre-backs, but as a backup, he's sound. Let's see if Bruno... And that's what Twansibi needs to do. Go and have a good season in the Premier League, then come back. Buster Nut says, let's see if Bruno cries after the game on Sunday. Well, why did he cry the other day if he's not going? And Mark, when I meet you, you're going to give me a hug or a handshake. Bruno will sign after the match, says Tito the Fool. What do you want? Do you want a handshake or a hug? And Vinuth says Dybala should... I normally do fist pumps, by the way. If you ever see me on the street, I like a fist pump. Not a fist punch, fist pump. So you put your fist out, I put mine out, and we just touch skin. Vinuth N says Dybala should play as centre attacking midfielder, too slow for right wing. We need a solid DM instead. Bruno and Dybala are similar players. They're not. They're not similar players, Vinuth. You need to watch Bruno Fernandes a little bit more, and you need to watch Dybala a little bit more. I'm not disputing they can both play the number 10 position, but Bruno Fernandes can play box-to-box and has played box-to-box for Sporting Lisbon and Portugal, and has got defensive qualities to his game. Dybala cannot play box-to-box. Dybala is an attacker. I think people misunderstand that about Bruno Fernandes. Anyway, how good is it to have a stream back that can comfortably go on for 40 minutes? And I'm not like this with my phone going, it could be going at any minute, so I'm just going to rush through. It could go. I mean, the background was great. The background was great, but being in control of your stream is even better. Signing Dybala and Bruno would mean we've spent upwards of 200 million this window. Not bad in that case, says Ramit Sandhu. You're wrong, because Dybala we're not spending anything on because he's a straight swap for Lukaku. Hamza Al Fadi says Simon Peach colleague spoke to Ollie after deal agreed, said still hopes 1 or 2 deals to be done. Exciting stuff. Exactly. I'm glad you said that, Hamza, because when I read that quote from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer that's come out this evening, he expects 1 or 2 more deals. That was after Harry Maguire broke. So yeah, hopefully he means 1 or 2 on top of Harry Maguire. Chicano 1987 sent tweet to United Stand FC Twitter. Okay, I'll go and have a look for that for you, man. And Marius Larson says 2-year-long loan to Newcastle and we pay half of his salary and then they sell as Longstaff for 20 million. Good deal for both, probably. Hey, you're thinking like a director of football, Marius. Don't think like that. It's too bloody logical. Don't forget the last year we just spent 50 on Fred. Napoli's Alan is perfect. Welcome home Marketos, says Illa United. Liverpool probably the best team in the world, says Kay Brennan. Can't beat the view from your office window, says Alex Connor. And what if Fernandes goes to Spurs, says English Savage. Look, if Fernandes goes to Spurs, what a signing. If Ndombele to Spurs, what a signing. Pepe to Arsenal, what a signing. But I can't pretend that I'm happy about those deals when they're good players. Giftson, David, Paul, Jebba Singh says, Mark, are you happy with no Deadwood leaving? I think Darmian will go. Valencia has gone. That's 2 bits of Deadwood. I think Mata should have gone. I do think Mata should have gone. I think especially if we get Dybala and Fernandes, I think why did we keep Mata, especially with the youth coming through? Jones, Smalling and Young were never going because they got new contracts. So, I mean, I'd love Matic to go. The Football 454. Mark, what do you think of the banter you're getting from AFTV about Pepe? Well, look, the banter I'm getting from AFTV about Pepe is ridiculous because there's a little clip of me saying Arsenal can't afford Pepe, right? I'm not an Arsenal fan. I don't follow what Arsenal are doing. All I've heard all summer from Arsenal fans, from AFTV, from Robbie and the crew is it's disgusting how our owners won't spend any money. We've only got 40 million to spend. It ain't enough. We're a laughing stock. And then they go and sign Pepe for 70 million and my little clip gets clipped up like I'm the one moaning about Arsenal having any money. They've spent all summer moaning they've got no money. They spend some money and they go searching for clips of me for retweets. And I'm like, I've even said it to them. I said, but the only reason I think you've got no money is because you lot have been moaning about not having any money. I don't know what your bloody transfer budget is. The only reason I'd heard about it is because it's coming up on my timeline. We got no bloody money.
We got no money, Claude. Flip-flop. Get the pancakes out. Get the pancakes out. We got loads of money. 70 million, Goldbridge. Flip-flop. You're the one who told me you've got no bloody money. All I was doing was talk on a Manchester United fan channel. I said, oh, we're in the race for Pepe. Arsenal aren't. They've got no money. And then they signed him. And I'm getting the shit. Like, I'm meant to know what Arsenal's transfer budget is. I'm going off what they told me. I don't get it. Anyway, I'm not really that bothered. He's a good signing, but as I said on Twitter, Pepe sprinting down the wing, 1-2 with Aubameyang, puts it into Lacazette, passes it to Iwobi, loses possession. Liverpool go up the other end. That's 6-0 because they've got a shit defence. So, look, Arsenal with Pepe are a better team than last season, but I think without Aaron Ramsey, they're a worse team. So their midfield's not good enough, is it? I could talk to you all night tonight, because I'm just so happy to be back doing a stream for as long as we've done it. But I'm also wary that that's probably going to be a bloody meme now, isn't it? You can tell something's done well, and it's going to get clipped up when you start seeing the laughing emoji. And to be honest with you, it's just going to add. It's going to add fire. It's going to add petrol to the fire between me and Arsenal, isn't it? But I'm not having it this year, actually. If Ed Woodward gets his finger out and gets us Dybala and Bruno Fernandes, last season Arsenal may have been our rival, but next week when I do my pre-season preview of the season, Arsenal aren't our rival. If we get Dybala and Bruno Fernandes next week, forget Arsenal. They're not our rival. It's Spurs. They're the rival, not Arsenal. They are our rival at the moment because we finished below them and we're a banter club. But if we get Dybala in and we get Bruno Fernandes in with what we've already done, we ain't got to worry about Arsenal. Udit Banaga says, do a hotometer. I don't do a hotometer on these shows, but I will do a hotometer on the next Transfer Daily. And Chloe Jenkins says, if Bruno goes to Spurs and they keep Eriksen with Wilkes, where does that leave Ali? Yeah, but they are looking for another midfielder, Chloe, and I thought it was Lo Celso. Dazo W, any reason Arsenal got Pepe is they're paying 20 million every year for 4 years? Yeah, and I've heard it's in Amazon vouchers as well, which are going to run out in the next month, and then Lille are going to be knackered when they go to spend 20 million at Amazon and they put the code in and they say it expired a month ago. You've been scammed. That's what happens. Right, people are telling me to check Twitter, so I'm going to go and check it just to see what's happening, just in case. It's hard when people say check Twitter. Yeah, so all I'm getting on Twitter is that Dybala is considering Manchester United, which we already know. I said that right at the start. Well, it wasn't the first topic, but it was what we spoke about at the start. So it's just, there's so much going on at the moment because United are always the club that everyone wants to write about because we've got such a massive, brilliant fan base. So people are just trying to find different angles on different stories. But the reality is, Harry Maguire's a done deal. Bruno Fernandes is apparently going to happen early next week. And Dybala is pissed off with Juventus. They're forcing him to Manchester United. So he's sorting out the terms with Manchester United. That appears to be the situation as it is now. I've read a story here that United have offered 50 million to Ajax for David Neres. I mean, yeah, we're going to still get linked to deals that are just impossible to do in 5 days. But the real stories for me would be Dybala, Bruno Fernandes, and maybe Longstaff. But yeah, that's sort of where we're at with it at the moment. Hannibal Maybury, great investment. Thoughts, says Nora Calder. Tell you what, Nora, you've put some good comments in tonight, and I think he is a really good investment for the future. Joseph Woodbury, would you rather get Dybala and Mandzukic in swap deal for Lukaku and also Bruno, or just get Bruno and Lozano for the right wing? I would still do Dybala and Bruno because I want to get rid of Lukaku. I think it's really important. And Imrano TV, Mark, I've always been curious. Is the actual chair you are sitting on as comfortable as the green screen one looks? The chair I sit on is very comfortable because I can sit on it for a long time and talk to you lot. Corriere dello Sport is saying that Ollie has spoken to Dybala, says United Extra. Well, I'm pretty sure that would have been the case. You know, this has been going on for a couple of days now. Out of the two, I think Dybala's probably the most likely out of him and Bruno Fernandes at the moment, but I don't see them as mutually exclusive, which is exactly what we were talking about at the start of the video. They are not mutually exclusive. Please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Drop a like on the video. I could be back live again in an hour and a half, the way this transfer window's gone. So yeah, subscribe, get your notifications on. Remember the vlog is sponsored by Unibet for the next week of the transfer window. Very good article on Dybala. I've put the link in the video description. Do go and give it a read. If you want to know a little bit more about Dybala, the situation, where he'd fit in at Manchester United, give it a read. Some really good writers on there, breaking news and all that United stuff that you need on the Unibet vlog. And of course, as I said before, the United Stand get together next Thursday night. You want to meet the United Stand people. We've just released another 100 tickets for the event. I think there's going to be over 300 people there, so it's going to be a really good night. If you want to bring stuff along like this, or United Stand polos to get signed, or United tops if you want to get them signed, link in the video description for our merch, etc. But yeah, get yourself down there. It's in London next Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Our first ever United Stand get together. Flex, Rants, some of the other lot are going to be there as well. So really looking forward to that. And it's transfer deadline day. And it's just before the start of the season. So we've got loads to talk about. Open mic, Q&A, lots planned. So link in the video description for that. Do you think we have any chance with Milinkovic-Savic anymore, says Ryan Football? I don't think we can. Not in the time that we've got left. But if Pogba goes, you never know. You never know. Thanks everyone for watching. First show back after the holiday. I hope you enjoyed it. Smash a like if you did. We're back every night at 8 o'clock now, of course. We'll be live with any breaking transfer news. Watch along tomorrow, Manchester United versus AC Milan. I'm looking forward to that game. It's going to be a good test and no Pogba either. So will that expose our midfield more, or can they step up to the plate again? I think we'll struggle tomorrow in the midfield, and I think it will expose how much we need Bruno Fernandes. But looking forward to that. Is it right that United don't do transfers when the Wall Street Stock Exchange is closed? No, it's a bit of a myth, to be honest with you, Sander Erger. It is a bit of a myth. We have announced deals when it's been closed. Finally, a centre-back who can play on the left side, says Hamza Abdelfadi. And finally, a centre-back who can win headers like Vidic used to. Positive. Thanks for watching. Really enjoyed the show. You never know, I might be back at 10:30. If not, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.